How many of you know Donald Trump? And how many of you know Robert Kiyosaki? Okay, so Donald Trump is the ex and former president of the United States, so the most powerful person on earth right now. And Robert Kiyosaki is the author of the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, and is also a billionaire who has made fortune in real estate. Okay, actually, both of them have made their fortune in real estate. And those guys hate losing. Would you agree that those guys also hate losing money? Right, of course they hate that. And why am I telling you this? Because they are, as we speak, buying as much Bitcoin as they can. And why is that? Because they understand that the game has changed. And you need to understand as well, and that's why you're here. So they're not buying stocks, bonds, real estate anymore. They are buying as much Bitcoin as they can. They even raise money to buy more Bitcoins. And in a few minutes, I will explain you how and why they do this. But for now, there are only two reasons to buy Bitcoin. Not 10, not 20, only 2. And in this video, you will understand them. So maybe your entire relationship with money and personal finance will change forever. So the first reason is pretty obvious. Freedom. Freedom. That's the first reason why you need and want to buy Bitcoin. It means that no banks, no regulation, no government, no company can tell you what you can or cannot do with your money, right? Because right now you must be feeling that bureaucracy, taxes, all of that is only going up. There is more and more taxes, more and more regulations, more and more control over what you can do and cannot do. And in the system that we are right now, banks and government are mixed, and they can follow every move that you make, ask you to justify every purchase, every movement, even your localization is tracked and all of that. And also, to show you a proper example of this control is that in the 70s, there has been this rule created that if you want to travel, okay, you can only take with you a maximum of 10,000 euro or $10,000 in cash with you. Okay, but as you know, since 71, they have printed an outrageous amount of money, and every year they keep printing new money. It means that every price increases, but your salary stays the same, so the money loses value. Okay, so these $10,000 today are worth $75,000. So to be able to purchase what you could purchase with $10,000 in the 70s, today, okay, it's worth $75,000. So you will need to have $75,000 cash to travel to be able to have the same quality of life or for your travel, right? And so in 55 years, they have never increased the limit, okay? They have increased the prices of everything, but the limit with which you can travel is the same, $10,000, okay? So increased taxation, increased regulation, increased control, reduced freedom. You start to understand it, right? And to give you a proper image of that, I will take this passport, okay? So right now, you have a passport to travel. It means that you are limited by where you can travel and how you can travel with a passport. You can imagine that this passport is the money that you use, the dollar, the euro, the Swiss franc, and it's limited, right? You are not free. You are just allowed to do certain places. That's exactly how your money works. But with Bitcoin, you don't need a passport. You can travel everywhere, anytime, and you're free. That's the comparison with Bitcoin and the traditional currency. So now you start to understand that not only you have this freedom of doing whatever you want with your money with Bitcoin, but you also have a freedom of location. Okay, so that's the second, and that's another point that I want to share with you, is that when you invest in real estate or stocks, you are constrained into a regulation, into a certain location. So if you have real estate in France or in Switzerland or in Europe, you need to be there. You need to comply to the regulations there as well. So you're not free. Okay, please imagine this. If you have a real estate property, try to not pay the tax that you have to pay every year on your property. And you will quickly see if that's really your property or if that's the property of the bank and the government, okay? So what happens if you don't pay? They will seize your real estate property or they will put you in jail. That means you are not free. Now with Bitcoin, you can travel anytime, anywhere, and you don't even need anything except for your password somewhere in there, right? So basically to buy Bitcoin, to store your Bitcoin, you only need your password. Okay, so let's say you travel somewhere and you have hundreds of thousands worth of Bitcoin. You travel with nothing, okay? You just buy your plane ticket and you travel somewhere. Let's say Costa Rica, just an example. You go to Costa Rica and now you want to pay things. You buy a hardware wallet, for example, and you type inside of this hardware your password that you remember, your password, your Bitcoin password. And now you can pay anything you want. You go do some shopping, you go buy even a house, or you rent a location, and that's how Bitcoin works. You can have it anywhere, anytime. So one example of this freedom, I will take the example of someone who's called Paul Keating, and I really like to mention him because he is living this life of freedom, absolute freedom. So basically he lives somewhere in the jungle where there is this Bitcoin community of people living in nature. They live by the beach, right? Beautiful location, beautiful villa and everything, right? And there is almost no regulation whatsoever, and they live 100% with Bitcoin. So what does that mean, living 100% of Bitcoin? It means that you are not bound by anything. You live by your own rules. So there is this freedom of no borders, right? He's traveling around the world anytime, and that's absolutely beautiful to see. And also, how does it look to live in a Bitcoin standard? What we call a Bitcoin standard is living with 100% of your wealth in Bitcoin. It means that every year, everything in the economy becomes cheaper because Bitcoin grows in value.